Hello everybody, Relle here, and this week we're going to Arcadia Bay with Deck 9's Life is Strange prequel Before the Storm. Without the science fiction premise of the original, does it live up to those high standards? Does Chloe succeed as a leading lady? And should you buy it? The original Life is Strange centered on Max Caulfield, who used her time manipulation powers to save Chloe's life and solve mysteries. Before the Storm is set before Max returned to Arcadia Bay and focuses on Chloe's budding relationship with a seemingly perfect Rachel Amber. Before the Storm is largely identical in structure to the original Life is Strange, with some obvious differences. Chloe doesn't have the same time powers Max did, so the game focuses more on interpersonal relationships and story. It's an interesting change because the Chloe of Before the Storm is much more of a punk wannabe than anything else. She's more like Max in terms of temperament, though of course you can play her as the smack-talking emo punk of the original. In place of the time powers of the first game, Chloe gets a backtalk mechanic allowing you to engage in a war of words with anyone standing in your way. These are timed affairs where you have to select the best response, and you only have a limited amount of poor choices before you lose the engagement. On the one hand, this mechanic does illustrate Chloe's character as it was in the original Life is Strange, someone who has a smart mouth and isn't afraid to use it. On the other hand, the backtalk mechanic isn't well utilized. In the original game, the time manipulation was baked right in, allowing you to have conversations with people, then go back in time and use your foreknowledge to get an edge. In Before the Storm, the game continues regardless of whether you succeed in the backtalk or not. It never feels necessary to use backtalk, and as such, it feels like it was included just to give Chloe something unique rather than something the game was built around. Furthermore, while the game does provide a good glimpse into the world of Arcadia Bay before Max returns, it also leaves certain plot threads up in the air. Without getting into spoilers, certain characters' relationships in the first game aren't explored or even brought up in the prequel, leaving you wondering if the developers couldn't fit them in, or if those characters were simply forgotten. It's not a deal breaker, but it is noticeable. All that said, Before the Storm is a worthy addition to the Life is Strange universe. Chloe is surprisingly more interesting to play as than Max, in part due to the contrast between her persona in the first game and the prequel. She tries so hard to come off as tough and sassy, but this, more often than not, ends up as lame but adorably so. Her relationship with Rachel Amber doesn't always come off as authentic, but is emotionally satisfying nonetheless. All episodes of Life is Strange Before the Storm are currently available on Steam for $17 American. Each episode is around 3 hours long, depending on if you find certain side events. Even if you weren't a fan of Chloe in the original, her character is different enough that it's worth exploring in the prequel. The game does go on sale fairly often, so if you don't mind waiting, you can save a few bucks. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this review, subscribe and click that notification bell to see more in the future. Leave me a comment with your thoughts below, and I will see you next time.